Learn about the strides female entrepreneurs of color are making. Be inspired by their story and enlightened by their leadership, insight, and advice.
Welcome to WinHers United. This is Season 7, Episode 16, entitled The Power of Listening with Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat. I'm your host, Nicole Walker, and I believe that business, mindset, personal development, and self-care are the 4 pillars to entrepreneurial success. This is why WinHers United is your one-stop shop for business, mindset, personal development, and self-care conversations with winning women of color entrepreneurs. Don't forget to go to Apple Podcasts and give WinHers United a rating and review. All you need to do is go to the show page in your Apple Podcast player, scroll to the bottom, click the 5 stars, then write a review. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes of your time, and I would greatly appreciate it. As a thank you, I'll be giving shout outs on future episodes to those that take time to write us a review. During this episode, Dr. Carolle guides us through her life story from childhood to the medical field as she sets the stage to explain the mind, body, and soul connection, self-healing practices, how illness is connected to life experiences, pivoting in business to align with where you are and where you want to be, the importance of listening to yourself and your body, and so much more. But before we get into this episode, let me tell you more about Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat. Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat is a multi-time best-selling author, a obstetrics and gynecology surgeon turned intuitive optimal health consultant, and a spiritual healer. After working as a surgeon for several years, Dr. Carolle tapped into her gift of healing without a knife. She shifted her practice to talking with and listening to her patients to get to the root cause of their illness, as opposed to only treating the symptoms. Dr. Carolle is currently working on a new business venture called the Built Well Institute, where she is dispelling misconception and misinformation to teach people how to live optimally. So without further ado, here is The Power of Listening with Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat. All right, so Dr. Carolle, welcome to WinHers United. We are so excited to hear more about you and your journey.
Yes, my journey. I said I have a journey. It's like without a map. I never know. I'm writing my memoir, and there were 5 books. So I finished the 3rd book, and I said, something new came up. So here we go again, and the journey continues.
Yes.
Be in a journey without a map, without the benefit of a map.
I like that. I'm excited to hear more. So, yes, let's get started by you telling us about your background and what you currently do.
Oh, my God. My background, grew up in Haiti, family of healers, spiritual healers, and shaman and midwives, and grew up with my father's side of the family. My mother was separated from my mother when I was 4, and I had a 2-year-old sister. So we went to another town to live with my grandmother, and my aunt was a spinster. So she literally abused us emotionally, physically, and verbally every time she could. And so when I was growing up, and also I grew up in a dictatorship, so we had curfew all the time. People were being killed, and then people would disappear. And when I was 9 years old, I was violently raped by a neighbor, and I never told anybody about it. And when I got sick, I was taken to my mother. My grandfather was a voodoo priest and a healer. Remember, I go to Power Girl School, and they say, this is evil, this is evil. Imagine people who love you and they're telling you, oh, this is evil. So it's just like you totally confused. So but they're the one who love me. They don't look evil to me, but then there is the evil, evil, evil. And they kicked me out, and so I got very sick. And my mother, when she found out I was very ill, so took me to my grandfather who did his healing. And I said, "Oh, I want to be a healer like him." He said, "No, you go and be a doctor." So by the time I was 9 years old, I knew I was going to be a doctor. My father, I wasn't raised with my father, but my father's father was an alcoholic. So I was with my father's mother. And then he always made me believe I could do anything. And he said, when he was 17, he had to leave home. And he said, in my father's side of the family, they're well-educated judges, monsignor, blah, blah, blah. But then because of my grandfather being an alcoholic, so he didn't have any education. And at the time, imagine, I'm being raised in a culture, girls don't go to primary school. That's very few had the opportunity to go to school. But my father always said, you're going to go to school and you're going to be anything you can be. And then so after I finished college, then I went to New York, spent some time in New York, and then I went to medical school in Mexico. So I'm fluent in Spanish. So I grew up speaking Haitian and French. All my dissertation, I'm looking at what I wrote. Oh my God, I could write the best French. That's my native language. So I went and also going to Mexico because I couldn't go to at the time. You know what? I wanted to go to a university, but there is no way I could go to that university. And then now I said, let me see if I wanted to go to that university. And I just Googled it, boom, and there it is and everything. But you're talking in the 70s, there was no such thing. You had to know somebody. So since I knew somebody in Guadalajara, so I ended up in Mexico.
Okay.
Then I spent 1 year in internship in Jamaica. And then I went and did 1 year of community medicine in Mexico, where I delivered babies in a farm with the dog running around. But you need to know, my mother was a midwife, she helped people around. My mother was an angel. So when I was 11, I went to visit her, and then somebody came and said, somebody's giving birth, can you come and help? And I said, can I go? I'm going to be a doctor, because you cannot be 11, you go to in a birth. And she'd let me go. So I said, yes, it's a lot of blood. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this blood if I want to be a doctor. But anyway, and then I was fortunate to find a postgraduate training with the exams that you had to take being a foreign medical graduate. So I was fortunate to be accepted in an obstetrics and gynecology to do my postgraduate training. And I spent some time at university at Mount Sinai in Milwaukee, University of Madison, where I did infertility, also UCLA. I had the best training. I'm board certified. I'm a fellow of the American College of OBGYN. So I have all the titles. But while I'm doing this, and then I decided to come, I was married then with a fellow resident, and then he's a polygamist. I didn't know. So I said, it's not going to work. But it's just, so I came to San Diego, and I was the first I was the 9th woman in the county. 9th woman.
Wow.
And then at the time it was a negative to be a woman, because it's a white male thing. But I was trained with midwives. I was, who I am clinically, I'm ready. And then I said, people will come. And then also something was happening. My gift were developing. I met many teachers, my intuitive gift of hearing, telling me what's wrong with the patient, don't operate. And my grandmother, who came with me, she lived with me for a while. She said, you have to listen to that voice. I say, Grandma, I have a young lady. She has a big tumor. She's dying, and I'm supposed to operate on her. But the voice said, don't operate. She said, don't operate. She said, I'm going to pray. She walked out of the hospital with everything inside a week later. And that's when my gift started. I have the gift of touch, of praying with people. I end up quitting obstetrics. I end up quitting doing surgery, because if you imagine, people, as a gynecologist, the bread and butter is when you regular bleeding, you do a hysteroscopy, or you do a DNC, you do, all the things, you do a hysterectomy. But the majority of women that were like me, being molested or raped, and so that's the negative energy they're carrying. So it's just like, after my grandmother died, I had the best teacher, who's an African-American therapist, and she started teaching me mind, body, soul connections. So then she said, ask your patients, if they're bleeding, have they been molested? Have they been raped? And I started asking them, and then said, go to your patients, patient who had surgery, or when the new patients they start coming, whenever they had hysterectomy or they're bleeding, ask them, have they had been molested? All right, and oh my God. And then also for many years, I review charts and then for women in the military, survivors of military sexual trauma.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And then it's just like, oh, so what I had to do is have the women accept their body, cleanse their body. It's just rituals that are created for them to do. Then they won't bleed. And if you don't bleed, what you do? You don't do any hysterectomy. So
yeah,
I had to quit surgery. And in the meantime, I started to write. I had the Hay House with Louise Hay. But then I have many books. I've written best-selling books, so I started writing. I couldn't do surgery anymore because I healed without the knife. You come to me. By the time you come to me, we find out with my intuition, why are you bleeding? You tell me. And my son died, and my husband left me. And then so the body, this is how it is the mind-body soul connections. So I started, what am I going to do? So I said, I'm going to quit surgery and I'm going to go to Haiti, but I'm the top surgeons, but there is a hospital with no electricity. So, and then so I was in the book tour and I had a panic attack. It's just like things just, then that's when I had to learn more about the mind, body, and soul connection.
Okay.
Because, you are in science, or God, there is no God. God can do that. And my grandmother, she would pray, and she said, you need to pray. I said, Grandma, you pray for me. And she died, she prayed for me from heaven. But I never had to, part of being the spiritual part that is missing for people to be sick is fear, anxieties, not connecting with a higher power, feel they can be in control of everything. That's what the new generation is. They think they can control. I'm going to have this, I'm going to have, I'm going to control. And boom, that's it when it doesn't happen, because we cannot control anything. And then life is about change. So I had to learn all this. So then I had to learn and then to reconnect with my faith. And then when I say faith, I see people say, I was raised Catholic. My grandfather was a voodoo priest. So there were spirits who talk to me and guide me, have guidance, and then what to do. Because when they say, yeah, we talk to you in your right ear. Now you're ready. Oh, by the way, also, I am what is called a medium. Because let's say the first time it happened, somebody came to me 12 years ago and she was hemorrhaging to death. And they've done everything to her. You need to know, I'm in a place where they send me people that nobody knows what's wrong with them. They tried everything. Many medication, they have organics, they work on their head, they have supplements, they have everything, they check their hormones, blah, blah, blah. And they're still bleeding or whatever, cancer, whatever it's happening to them. So they say, send it to her. And then and I will just ask the person, why is your body, the beautiful, perfect machine, is misbehaving? And then they'll tell me, I lost my son. I was whipped when I was 9. So why are you having this weird kind of cancer in your uterus? And you organics, you do all these things, everything is working. But when she was 15, she was raped by somebody for 3 months. So this has to go. So it's all this negative energy. So also the grief that people have. So that first time I was telling you, when that patient came to me, because they don't know what to do with her. Nothing works. By now she has diabetes, everything is out of control. So at that clinic, whenever there is a patient, they feel there is nothing you can do for her, send it to her. And I asked the patient, why are you bleeding? So that particular patient told me, so you understand, there is a timeline. I call it the backward timeline. Somebody comes to you and say, I'm bleeding. And then I don't know, oh, you're bleeding. Let's check your hormones. Let's do an ultrasound. Let's do this. And then we're going to be treating whatever you're experiencing. I do the opposite. I call it it's a backward timeline. When was the last time you were healthy? I saw in November. And also, I look at a chart and I'm looking at the medical records in the stupid machine. I hate it. And then you can see, she saw the doctor in February. She was diagnosed with insomnia and depression. And they put her on sleeping pills and then antidepressant. And then by April now, your hemoglobin A1C is abnormal. You have pre-diabetes. And you see, as time goes by, there is more diagnosis and more medication. Oh, your cholesterol is high. Oh, now you have diabetes. Oh, now you're not responding to the oral medication. We have to give you insulin. Now she starts bleeding. So the body is just like, something is happening, it's killing her. And then so I said to her, So by the time she's hemorrhaging to death, and she doesn't have any insurance, that's why they didn't do a hysterectomy on her. Otherwise, it would have come out somewhere else. And then so I said to her, she had 2 units of blood by the time she came. And then she's on insulin, and then diabetes is not controlled. She has this, you have hyperlipidemia or your cholesterol, everything, she's dying. And I'm thinking, whoa, that's how I see the patient. So I look at her and I asked her, I see her progressively getting worse. And then if I didn't see her in 2 years, she would have been in dialysis and died, right? Because she progressed. They're treating the symptoms and then as not only the medical doctors, you go to doctors, they do functional medicine. You're going to do they're going to measure this and give you this. You're going to have this vitamin, this supplement. You're going to have this, but because they're treating the symptom.
Yeah.
So I said to her, so she's there. They've done everything. So that's what they do. The people I've seen over the years where they've done everything. So I asked her, why are you bleeding? Why is your diabetes out of control? Why are you having all these things? She looked at me like, I've heard you're the top specialist. You're supposed to tell me. I say, no, you know. The patients always know. And I say, why? And she just still couldn't answer. And I said, you were fine in February, right? Or in March. You went to the doctor in April. What happened in March? What happened in February? What happened in January? My son died in a car accident, 21. She's been experiencing what is called complicated grief.
Oh, wow.
So when she realized that, she went, oh my God, she's now finding out it's not something is wrong with her. She's grieving a son. She stood up and started crying. I hugged her and she started telling me, I want my son to tell me he loves me. So I didn't know then I was channeling. Later on, when it started happening, I said, oh, I love you, mommy. I love you, mommy. I love you, mommy. I love you, mommy. So I became a son. She had a chance to say goodbye. Then after that, I had to pray, because usually this is what happened. And if you really need to hear that, is that the harder things are, the more you pray. Sometimes what's making us sick is we think we can control things. You're just letting go. So I said, I told my patient, this is what's happening. You're grieving and unconsciously you want to die to join your son. But I use her faith. Do you think your son is happy in heaven? Like, you think your son is heaven? She's Catholic. You think your son is happy in heaven? Oh, yes, he had to be an angel. Do you believe Jesus is the Son of God? Yes. Do you believe God has only one son? Yes, I do. And then have you been praying? I'm mad at God. I said, oh, then you're a real sinner because you have a daughter. God had only one son. And that's the first time she smiled. So then I said, now, so you understand. No medication, nothing they can give you. You're going to go back and die. You're going to eventually. But I'm going to show you how to pray, how to reconnect. And then I said, there is a prayer when I had to do the reconnection myself, because, in science, when I had the panic attack, how I had to go and let go and surrender. And there was a prayer that my grandmother used to say. And I said, can I teach you? And then I said, yes. And then so I go, Jesus, sweet Jesus, the Lord of the strong, help me, I'm weak. Help me, I'm weak, help me. And she repeated and repeated and just, oh. And then I said, that's what you do. Whenever you feel you miss your son, and your son doesn't want you to be unhappy. And then so just pray and pray and pray. A month later, everything normal. So I said, all the lab work, that's what I tell people. If you have any stress, any grief, don't go to the doctor. Because they're going to do your blood, and then all those, I call it the ashes of what's happening in your body is going to show up in the blood. So they're going to put you in the box. Like your cholesterol is high, your hemoglobin A1C, you have pre-diabetes and you have diabetes. And then now you're stuck in a box.
Wow.
You're stuck in the box forever. And then you have to take more medication. Guess what? Oh, you're depressed. Depression medications making you bleed and it's making you gain weight. All right. So the cholesterol medication is going to make you not sleep, because remember, you came first, she came first because she couldn't sleep. It's going to make you not sleep, and it's going to make her not thinking well. That's what the medication does. So now you're getting all these medications and then you're having more side effects. So I'm creating a series of whatever I'm creating, podcasts and audios. And I say, whenever you have anything going on with you acutely, don't have any blood tests, because they're going to read the blood test. It's just like you actively burning wood. And then so they have all the ashes. So they're going to measure, oh my God, there are ashes. And then they're going to measure it. And now you have diagnosis. Or you have this, you have that, you have that. Then now it's not, you went there because you couldn't sleep, but now you have all these things. So after being with so many patients, that I was the last resort. And then so It's just like, you could see, and they say it's a miracle. It's not a miracle. She wanted to die, and unconsciously, the body was dying. The body listens. Like, oh, you want to die? Okay. Oh, you want to be healthy? All right. So the body listens. So that's what they're measuring. So this is what I've been doing. So right now, what I'm doing now is just like a mentor resident at UCLA School of Medicine. I have doctors who find me. I do some consult, but also I'm an Intuitive Optimum Health Consultant. And so I'm creating online courses. So now the next few 2 to 3 months, I'm creating program for pregnant women, because especially you heard for minorities and the same thing. Why pregnancy is the beautiful time, but many times you might not want to get pregnant. The person might not in your life does not want to have anything to do with the baby. There are so many circumstances. But also now we have the COVID, we have all this isolation, it's even worse. But then what happened is you heard about higher mortality in minorities. And then it's just like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's the biggest stressors that happen in your life while in your 20s or 30s. So you're having the same complication if you didn't get pregnant. You're going to have it later. And you see how we have the COVID, but they say the minority die first. But why do they die? It's the same thing of the racism, the stress, the constant stress, the autoimmune system. The immune system is constantly overcharged. So a little virus, boom, is going to kill them. It's the same thing. So I'm glad, because I'm working with that wonderful gentleman who's training pro athletes and said, we need to do something for women. So I met him. Somebody said, you need to meet Dr. Carolle. So I'm bringing the mind and the soul into it. And it is just like, if you have any situation that you feel you have no control, what's going on, your body's changing from month 1 to 9. You have no control. So the least control you have in your life, if you still have nobody listens to you because you're Black or you're minorities, so you're more likely to have complications. And it's the same thing that happens through a woman's life. So the education is that understand what's happening to your body. But there was some, oh my God, I'm not anything to do with pregnant people, but now it's just like there's so many people who are experts, so many experts. So what is it somebody to do? So I put a whole on, I call it, is the stage 2 we're going to be doing together for Built Well for Life. Like as a gynecologist, because now we have Built Well for Pregnancy and Beyond.
Okay.
When we have a program where you go into your exercise, we training, it's been already done that. I'm just adding, we training the coaches how to be with the women. And then, so the idea is that, and I'm as a gynecologist, I see women all walks from all ages, especially if they're having any problem vaginally. So I will be seeing them. And then I remember I was the only female gynecologist in an area. So a lot of young girls will come in to see, they felt she was being molested or raped. And then, so I would sometimes have to take them under general anesthesia to examine them to see what was going on. So I see these women until they die. So we say this, and now that's what I'm doing right now, concentrating in the pregnancy. Then after that, hey, you pregnant, you go on 2-3 years later, you have another child. So it's the same thing that I was doing before, is to teach women, they know what's going on with them. They know, but to be able to know who's giving you the information. There's so much in the internet. There's so much, so confusing. So this is the idea of giving the right information. And then we're going to be doing Build Well for Birth. That's what is doing with the program. But our podcast is going to be Build Well for Pregnancy and Beyond. Because like I said, pregnancy is the first time your body get that shock. But then you hear about complication in pregnancy, maternal death, and complication, postpartum hemorrhage. or let's start before, recurrent miscarriages, premature labor. And so all those things, the more stress you have, the more likely you're going to have this. So it's just like teaching you now while you do the pregnancies, putting the most stressing things on your own. Gestational diabetes. And if you read about this, oh, you have gestational diabetes, you're more likely to have diabetes later. It's because your body is primed for being out of whack. And then I have a lot of rituals and how to reclaim your body, you have to scrub all the things you've been carrying, blah, blah, blah. So I'm excited.
Yes, that is so exciting. What we listen to has the power to change our lives. Do you have a life-changing message that needs to be shared with the world? If so, then you should give podcasting a try. Send me an email at winhersunited@gmail.com. And that's WINHERSUNITED@gmail.com so we can chat about your future in podcasting. It would be my honor to help you get started. Always remember that your voice matters and the world needs you. So I had a question as far as like how that was received in the medical community, right? Because like you said, that is contrary to what makes money to actually, it sounds like teaching people how to heal themselves.
Let me tell you something. I asked that question. Imagine I'm in a top universities or I'm, whether, let's put it this way. I was called a character, but the doctors, and then imagine I'm the only Black woman. Only Black woman in my 2 hospitals for years. Their wives became my patients. I operated on the top cardiologist's wife. Their daughters, they would go home and then they will go, oh my God, this crazy woman. And then they say, really? So imagine it's all male, right? And they say, you mean to tell me there is a woman who's giving you a hard time? We want to meet her. So whenever they have parties, they all flock, all the women. So all their daughters and all the wives and all their mothers, so they're my colleagues, I became the doctor because I'm good. See, I am a good surgeon clinically. And then we don't know what she does, but what she does work. And then one of the reasons it is, I don't know now, difficult for Black women when they came to San Diego, because they didn't have you need people to cover for you. Otherwise, you cannot work 24 hours. So, but then guess what? It's just like, I wanted to take my board, so I need to have some cases. So I just called the doctors. I said, I can take your calls in the emergency room for you. Or if you need an assistant. And then so, because to be a good assistant, you have to be a good surgeon, because you have to be 2 seconds before the surgeon to be ready for the surgeon. And then I guess they said, oh, she's really good. And I didn't know for 1 year they're spying on you, because if you're bringing a patient, you're going to cut her open or do something, the hospital, the anesthesiologist, the other surgeon are in jeopardy of malpractice. So you have to be good. So I was very good clinically. And then pretty soon they said, why don't you come and join us to the call with us? And I said, okay, I'm fine. I have a small practice. And my patients, they come to me. They want a woman. But then they said, and even my patients start learning, I cannot be there 24 hours. You don't want me to be. And they say, okay. But I take care of you through the whole pregnancy. And then and then pretty soon, their patient, they will say, how was she? I say, oh my God. And the patient will say, can I become your patient? I say, oh, no, you go back to your doctor. I'm just covering for him. I can't do that. And it's also, I listen to the patients. I wasn't okay, I know what's wrong with you. I say, you know what's wrong with you. So, and then I listen. So I'm been very well known in my community, very well known in my colleagues, my people who refer patients to me. Imagine the chief, he was like the California Medical Association president. And then his wife was my patient. And one day he called me, Carolle. And I said, you have to pronounce my name right. Not Carolle. And I said, my mother has this crazy idea. The doctor said they saw something. And then she said, there's nothing wrong with me. If you believe there is nothing wrong with you, there is nothing wrong with you. You can change that. And especially what they're looking in the X-ray or in the MRI is questionable. So I said, Do you mind me? I touch you. Because I have the belief. If the patient believes there is nothing wrong with her, and I lay hands on her and see her heal, she's going to heal. So I look at her, she looked at me. She said, there is nothing wrong with me, doctor. And I said, I believe you. I call her son and I said, she's fine. And he said, okay. And that's what happened. They always looked at me because I left. I said, I'm not putting up with this. I'm not going to be let medicine. 2 out of 3 doctors are burned out. 3 out of 4 residents are burned out. And I said, I'm not going to do this. I have to leave. I can't. And then one day you need to hear that. So there we are in the doctor's lounge, a bunch of, cardiac surgeon, blah, 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 blah. And then they're talking about this and that medicine. And I stood up and I slammed the door. I said, this is crazy. And I said, this is weird. Here I am. I'm a woman and I'm black. And you are white guys. And you're putting up with all this crap. And then I am leaving. And then they look at me and they say, we wish you were like you. We admire you. We wish you were at your guts. Mm-hmm. So whenever I see them, whenever I go and, we're getting old and then they will die young and then I'll go to a funeral or I'll be on television. They say, we only see you on TV. And then I will go to a funeral whenever I can. And then they will say, oh, and you see them. We hug. Oh my God. Oh, we miss you. We miss you.
Wow. So you said a few things that I think is very important to leadership, right? In whatever field, right? Like you took the time to listen to your patient.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of people overlook the importance of that. And I find it truly amazing that even in the medical field, right? Because that could be a place where it's easy to think that you know better. Right. But to take that time and to listen, like I find that truly amazing that even at that level, that's a tool that you use.
Any level. My grandmother always say you can learn from a child. If you think you know more, you're a fool. I have a friend of mine and she has a program for weight. And then we were talking about something and she was adamant, 100%. And I said, no, not 100% of women have sexually harassed or sexually molested or raped. And I said, and then I'm a gynecologist. I deal with women. And many times I'll be the first person that women will say for the first time, oh men, yes, I was molested. Yes, I was raped. But there are some women, so everybody says, 100%. Whenever somebody's telling you 100%, something is wrong with them. And then we were talking about, if somebody whistle at you, it's an harassment. And I said, it's a cultural thing. In some places, women, they dress nice for the men to look at them. So nothing is going to happen. It's the culture. So you only live in America. You don't know the culture. So please don't say 100%. I would say being a gynecologist and having seen women, thousands of women, and then the past few years dealing with men, also we have sexual abuse. And then I feel I have the knowledge more than most, and I'm an intuitive because I can see, and I ask them, they ask me the question, and I say, and then within 2 sentences, and I say, you don't need to tell me. Let me tell you what happened to you. Let me tell you, because I see their past, and I see where they're going. Like this woman, I could see, we find out the child, and this is like 2 minutes. The child died, and in an accident, but I could see a year from now, she would be with kidney failure and dialysis and die of the complications. But it's just, I can see the past, I can see the future. So having that knowledge, but each person is different. You could have 2 sisters, twins in the same house, sitting. You see, it's just like the person is looking north to south, south to north, same thing, and you see totally different. So people are totally different. So I have learned that we're totally different. Mm-hmm. And then you could be black, but you're different. You could be Hispanic, you're different. You could be Haitian, you're different. You could be, there is a culture, there is this, and there's the same perception in the same house. So I have always treat everybody that they're unique, They're unique. And then I connect with my patients instantly. And also having the reputation to say, you go. She's going to tell it to you. If you don't go to her, you don't want to hear the truth. So that is the thing too. And it's just also, I realized that if somebody believes that I'm going to help them, they're already healed. They already come already healed because they believe in me. It's the faith they have in me. And you heard about the placebo effect. I could give them anything. It's just like, for example, the tapping, and then say you tap here, you tap here. That person never had a panic attack. But then now I just say to some person, I'm creating a course called 4 Ways to Quickly Stop the Stress Response. Okay, so that's one of the online courses that I'm doing. But then I'm realizing you might be somewhere, I feel there is a point here. First you do a massage, and I'm going to explain in the course. But then you could just tap your knee. Could be your knee. You redirect the focus. That's what it is. You self-hypnotize the person, blah, 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 blah. You redirect the focus. You could just, it's that simple. So I have learned over the years the simplicity of things. And then, so when I'm with somebody, I guess a lot of people, they say I'm misunderstood, or the person doesn't have the knowledge. But I always say when I do a consult, for example, I have a 3-step process. And I say, 1,000% guarantee, because I say, tell me what's wrong with you. Tell me what you've done that doesn't work and what you expect from me. So the person say, I want this, this, this. So I always give you what you expect from me. So 1,000% guarantee. So
I like that.
I developed that over the years. So
yeah, this has some good gems that I think that is important for leadership. Again, the listening. I like as far as getting to know people individually, right? That is super important because everyone is different.
Before I say something, it's very important. I want to add, everybody wants to be loved and accepted. So it could be, I have some people, I heard them later on, they were jerks. And I would say, you mean he's a jerk? But I am connected with the soul. And imagine I am Black and I'm a woman and I'm in a sea of white male. But one thing I found out, everybody wants to be heard. Everybody. And then that's what I do. I remember I was at the clinic, very busy clinic. And there is a young white male. He sat for the consultation. And I looked at him and I said, today is your day because you have me. And I'm an intuitive, I'm a psychic, I'm a spiritual healer, I am piece of paper, I put 4 circles. This is me, this is me, this is me. And I know the body from follicle to cuticle. While I'm telling that, he just started crying. You're looking at me, you're looking at me, you're looking at me. And I didn't do anything for him. And he said, you're looking at me. That's what he said. You are looking at me. So people know that. People know where you're here and you're in the next patient, this next room, or your wife at home. Anything in the moment when that person is in front of you, you have to be totally there. That's why I do work. It doesn't take me long because I am totally focusing you. I'm here. Yes, I have all this knowledge of surgery, of medicine, of science, and whatever it is, it right now.
That's a good one. Be in the moment, right? Oh my goodness, I love that. Let's switch gears a bit and tell us about the toughest struggle that you had to overcome.
Toughest struggle? I guess being abused as a child. And I used to go and visit my mother, but my mother, in the name of education, went to the capital of Haiti to go to school, have opportunities. And then I would know my mother knew that we were being abused. And then she agreed that we're going to go and have a future. And I guess so, now when I go back in my life, there were many things, but I am a pathological optimist. If it's raining, oh my God, it's raining. But my water bill is going to be less this month. Yeah.
I like that.
And then the sun is shining. Great. My roses don't have no mildew. It's just like, I decided, because I guess when you suffered, when you were literally abused in every area, any sense, then I made a decision that I'm not going to have anything negative in my life.
Mm.
I don't deal with negative people. I don't watch the news. I have the Sunday newspaper because at least if there was a rule, I say, if they say now we're going to start driving on the left side of the road, I need to know. So, because I don't go and get an accident. That's what I do. On Sunday, I get the news and then I read it and then I drop it. I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive. So I tell people right now, unless if you call me, I want to hear about nice thing. I have an ex-boyfriend, he's very negative. And then that's why we're not together. And then he said to me, and we love being together. He wines and dines me, takes me places. He loves being around me. And then he will talk about, oh, there'll be a drought, there'll be no water in California. I said, I don't give a hoot about there is no water in California. Oh, there is going to be an earthquake. Oh, I live in the mountain, so I'm going to have beachfront properties. I always find something to say. So right now, I am having fun here I live in San Diego, the most beautiful city in the world, with the weather and the view. And then so he said to me, I cannot talk to you about anything. And then I was thinking about it. I said, of course, we can talk for a long time. Let's talk about sex. oh, I don't know. Have you had orgies? Have you this? Have you that? And then he's looking at me. I said, yes, we can really talk a lot. So there are conversations, that positive, joyful conversation that you can have without putting anything negative about it.
So. I like that positivity though. I can relate. And some people do have like a rain cloud over their heads, right?
Yeah.
I agree. So tell us about an aha moment that you had lately.
An aha moment. I'm self-conscious about how I look because, of course, I was told I was ugly, blah, 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 blah. I have the most handsome young business partner who wants to do podcasts with me. And then I said, I want to do audio. He said, no, we need to do video. We need to do like you and I sharing the screen. And I said, Dr. C, Doctor or Dr. C, you're the most beautiful woman. To me, you're the most beautiful woman. And then it's not only that, it's your spirit, it's your light. I want to share that screen with you. It's your spirit and it's your light. And then to have a gorgeous hunk telling you that, damn, that's my last aha moment. Yeah, and it's totally professional, and then guess what? It's just like, I'm just going to speak. I'm just going to be me because I have a lot to share. I have a lot to say.
I like that, right? Because I think that we do carry baggage from things that we've experienced in childhood or growing up, you know, and even with all of your success, with all of your acclaim, you know, like still feeling this way and having this guy to reassure you, right? I think that's awesome.
And then, so guess what now? I'm just going to do it because I have something to say and people will listen. And then, and those who don't want to listen, they're lost.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Yes, because I have so many people say, oh, you have to, because I have many books that I've written. I don't write any more books. When I see the royalty that I get and the time I spent, no, I'm doing online courses and I'm going to do videos. And especially now with this technology, I can talk and create things and, oh no, and you pay for it. I don't do books anymore.
So all my books. What caused that shift though? Is that you're saying the money from the royalties isn't what you thought it would be? That's why you're shifting to
Yes, because I work hard for a book, and then when I realize when I get my little royalties checks and all the things that I've done, and I said, then I'm going to use the same knowledge. I'm just going to turn it into online courses and charge lots for it.
Okay, I like that though. So that's a pivot, right? And in business, we have to pivot many times, right?
Many times.
I love it. All right. So do you have a recommended resource to tell us about and tell us how you utilize it?
So far, not that I'm thinking that I know everything, but when it comes for women's health, or now we're going to do something with a pregnancy, so we have built well for birth. And builtwellforbirth.com. This is what I'm enhancing for that young gentleman, where we do the exercises, but I'm going to add. So if somebody is pregnant and wants to know how to have the optimum pregnancy, labor and delivery, and postpartum, we're it. So that's what I'm. And then afterward, we have Built Well for Life, and also we're going to have an Build Well Institute, where all the online courses, all the things that I feel is needed. So I'm going to take I've written many books, best-selling books, French, Spanish, and then so I'm going to turn them into courses. So easy to make it easy for people to. I want to be like a Google on women's health.
I like that.
A place where when you go there, so let me say what she has to say about it. So I'm spending a lot of time creating, and I've also have a lot of things that I've written over the years. There'll be PDFs like how to heal your relationship with your mother. For example, a woman who has the issue with her mother, now she's pregnant, the anger might come out as a mother. You were not there, you weren't a good mother. Now I don't know how am I going to be a mother to this child. You didn't teach me. So the anger can show up. And then so I've already done a recording, if somebody interviewing me, saying how to heal your relationship with your mother, dead or alive. Because you have a negative issue with your mother, eventually that's causing you to have complication with pregnancy. Eventually, breast cancer, that's the most negative things that happen to women when they start getting older, is the negative issue of themselves as women, and the mother is the breast.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So at any age, you have to start healing, dealing with regrets, dealing with relationship with your mother, dealing with the relationship with your father. I do something like dealing with your relationship, healing your relationship with a caregiver, because I wasn't raised with my mother or my father. So I had a caregiver, and then to find the positive of everything. So those are the things that we're putting in the site. That's what I'm doing right now, because I feel people who recognize themselves and have the tools they need.
I love the title, Built Well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Built Well. We are Built Well for birth, for the exercises, and then the podcast is going to be Built Well for pregnancy and beyond.
Yeah.
And then after that, when we finish this, because all the things that I've been doing, remember I told you the courses and everything, I'm putting aside, I do things, make it diamond, perfect. So and that's why we get along so well, because he's so meticulous and work hard. So we training coaches to train the women who are pregnant. And then so I'm coming, and we had a class Saturday, and the women, they love the idea that when the women come for the training, that they have to see how are they today emotionally, how are they today. So they need to know about the woman. They need to know about what she's dealing with. So we're doing a lot.
I love that. I love that. So do you have any advice for an up-and-coming entrepreneur?
For an entrepreneur, what would I welcome? We talked about it. Changes, we always have to reinvent ourselves. Imagine you had a business and it was perfect. Things were working. I'm working with the doctors. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And COVID came, shut everything. So always know the only thing which is constant in life is change. It's change. It's just like you think, oh, I've arrived and everything, and somebody pulled the carpet under your feet, boom, and you reinvent yourself.
Yes,
so when I'll give you an example. I worked for years with women, and they would come here in my beautiful place and pay me. But then the economy crashed. Oops. Then reinvent myself. But then now my gift as an intuitive and as a psychic, and all those things are getting stronger and stronger. But then I said, okay, I'm going to be working with doctors. Okay, so I'm going to work with doctors, and then boom, everything closes again. Then, okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go and work with women. So like if you go to my website, drcarolle.com, you see that I'm an intuitive consultant for optimum health. So when the person comes, so I'm doing that, and I'm doing the online courses. I told you, I'm doing the courses, I'm doing everything, but I have the opportunity to work with women who are pregnant. And then when we sat down, this is what I'm doing. And I said, let's do the women who are pregnant, because some women, they have to be built well for life. They say, well, PMS, all those things. That's the beginning of it. So you learn about yourself, then you'll be ready to get pregnant, 1 or 2 or 3 kids. Most people have 2 children. And then after that, you come back to us, and then you continue built well for life. But it's the same thing. I have a metaphor that I use, the tomato paste. So it's just like a field of tomatoes. So I'm ready to do Mexican salsa, Greek tomatoes. So you have to know what you do. It's good, but then you might have to put a little spice on it, less spice, more spice, little onion, put some feeder, same with my tomato, this is the tomatoes like this, so you slice it this way, and then that's the wedges, you make wedges out of it, and you put olive oil, little lime, and then some, how do you call it, some feta cheese, and olive oil, and then you have Greek.
I love it.
So you have the tomatoes, right? And then you find out, oh, they're having a fair, a bunch of Mexican are coming, a bunch of Hispanic. So you take a bag of tomatoes, get your onions, get your chile serrano, and then you just go cut, and it's and then you have mild, medium, and hot Mexican salsa. Somebody's opening a restaurant. I have a bunch of the round tomatoes. I can give you nice slices to pack them for you for your hamburgers or to put in your salad. Same tomato.
I love that analogy.
I'm good at analogies. Yes.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Carrolle.
You be good at what you do. You be good at what you do. You know it. But then things change.
Listen, I think if nothing else you can say, I agree. It is that things change, and sometimes at the blink of an eye, right? So what are you going to do to keep up?
What are you going to do? So have something, because I'll give you an example. I am a healer. I'm an intuitive healer. I'm a spiritual healer. I'm a surgeon. I'm a doctor. I'm a gynecologist. I know the body from follicle to cuticle. And I'm a medium. So which means this is me. But then I'm going to be using it wherever, whether it's to teach, whatever it's happening to you. And that's what I use.
I love it. I love it. Before we get into our last question, I do have a question just on the shift mindset, right? Because listening to you and your story, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because in my head, going from being a surgeon to being a consultant, to me sounds like a difference in the money that you make. Because from what we've been taught, surgeons make a whole lot of money. But just wondering, how was that, like the acceptance or, just the process of letting go?
Guess what? I was destined. I've arrived of who I am. I wasn't supposed to be a surgeon. I heal without a knife.
Okay.
So you don't get paid for healing without a knife.
Okay.
So you change your perspective about money. And then it's just like, now, let's put it this way. How much do we need? How much happiness? I am the happiest person on earth. I don't have what my colleagues have.
Okay.
I don't have, but I know I've changed so many, the lives of so many, just for being who you are. I want you to know something. Oh, something come to mind, and I listened to my voice in my head. I was an advisory board member for GE, General Electric Center for Financial Learning. Whenever we went there, they have United Airlines. We go first class. We have the limousine picking us up. They don't give us money, but they give us perks. And one of the perks was the gentleman was a futurist. Futurist means his company he was working at the time was British Petroleum, the Navy, Starbucks, Nike. So what he does is just like, there are some companies like Montgomery Ward. You don't hear about them anymore. Woolworth, all companies used to be on the top of their game. But this is usually what happened. Business go down. So as a futurist, he knows how to keep, so Starbucks will be his company, or Nike. Why do we do that? We're constantly riding the wave. So we speaking the next day, we're there with businessmen from all over the country, the top businessmen. And I am in there as a doctor because I say your finances is very important for your health. Because you might stay in jobs or relationships or just because you don't have the money, even though there is abuse. So that's what's going to kill you in the long term. For that particular moment, it looks, you better stay, but you're going to pay for the price. So I was accepted just that. So And that night, I came from California. Everybody came from the East Coast, most of them. So I am there with this gentleman that his consulting fees are about $100,000. I am here with him because he was in Arizona. And then so we are in the time frame 2-3 hours behind.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people, so they went to bed because we're going to start tomorrow early. So here I am with this watch. I'm with him. And I said, can I ask you a question? That's an opportunity of a lifetime. And I said to him, this is what happened. At the time, I had just opened a wellness center to first in the country. And then, but something was happening. My intuition is getting clearer and clearer. So I know that I have to move, because if you come and you're bleeding, why would I order a blood test when I know it's your mother, relationship with your mother that you need to heal?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a lot of turmoil. So I told him we were like a year into that, and people are waiting for me to have a bunch of, a big opening. I'm a gynecologist, very well known. People are going to come. So the herbalists are going to come give you a little herb. The psychologist is going to, the acupuncture. So they're going to do all these different things that I have. It's a center with all the different people to work with these women to make them better. But I'm realizing I can see what's wrong with the person. So what am I going to do with all these people? We work together. We're going to have this. We're going to have that beautiful center. So I was in turmoil once again. And I'm telling him this. And I said, what do you think I should do? 3 words. Just be yourself. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
It was one of the most, I didn't even know who myself was at the time, but I knew inside that my spirit and the spirit of my ancestors who are guiding me will not let me not become who I'm supposed to be. Just be yourself. And then how many people have said I'm crazy? Imagine after going through all this, I don't have a bunch of numbers. And money is about a decimal point. You take a bunch of zero, you cut it right there. When I send, we have a small hospital in Haiti where the people make $30 a month. So if I send $300 for somebody, I send them a fortune. They might not do anything with it, but it's no money they would never think about it to do. Okay? So then what happened? But if you give somebody like Bill Gates $300, you have a $300, somebody wants you. $300 to Bill Gates, that's nothing. But then happiness, it's in a decimal point. So I don't have a bunch of zero, but I'm content. I have everything that I need. You will not believe my house. For some reason, people always find something to bring to me. So, and then I don't say no, because I always bring it, take it to somebody else. Oh, we see that fruits, we see this awesome soup, all this. So I have everything. And that's what I will always say. You will be taken care of. Sometimes I think, and then sometimes some people are working very hard, not spending time with their children, giving them things they don't need. And if you ask your children, what do you want? This, I would rather be with mommy than having all these toys.
Yeah.
So yes, it was, but you have to have the guts to do that.
Yeah.
You have the guts to do that. Oh, there was a lady who always said, oh, now I am like a priestess. I could have been a multimillionaire because she has a lot of money. I could have been this and this and that. And guess what? She has all this money and she became ill. She went to the best doctors. They couldn't find nothing wrong with her. And the children said, maybe you should call her. So they say, they have a say, I'm like the banana trees. But then after, when the leaves are going to come down back to you, to the trunk. I know where I'm going. I know who I am. So it's just like a husband called me. The husband had done something very nice for my ex-husband. And I'm endearing to him. So I said, I barely speak with her. And I said, yes, she can call me. No, I cannot. She has to call me. And she has to be ready and that's the people I see. You go to all the doctors, who has that gift? How can you quantify this? So she called me and I'm talking to her. She said, I'm having this. I went to this doctor. I went to this doctor. I took this. She's everything organic, blah, blah, blah. She did this and drink, blah, blah. And they say nothing. And then everybody's sad. They have money, but there is no help. And I said, okay. I can see what's happening. And then this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And if you want to, you have to ask me that you want to heal. And then I do a healing for you over the phone. And that's what you need to do afterward. 3 weeks later, she's back doing everything. So she called me. I already told her that I heard what she was saying. I could have been a multimillionaire. But then I'm realizing, do you have a price for doing this for somebody? To just touch somebody, the person stop bleeding. This is miracle. You know what I mean? So, but you have to understand what is important or not what's important. Let's say if you have children to raise, there was something you do, but you don't keep on accumulating. When are you going to be yourself? So I'll give you an example. I'm at the clinic. At the clinic, there are people of all walks of life at the place where I see patients. So people are going to come with money. They're going to come in my beautiful healing center where they can pay me and pay me big money. And then there is somebody that I'm doing a favor. She came to see me at the clinic that day. And I said, you need to see me. Here's my card. Here's my card. And then, for the consult, it's $350. It's a discount, $350. Yes, I'm coming. So I'm giving her the card and I'm standing and I hear that voice on my right ear. One visit. And I said, and I took the card and we stood up. So I have like 2 minutes with her. I want you to know, because she was referred by a friend, my witch friends, let's say. I'm always in transition. So I'm right now in the transition. I don't know what I'm going to do. I am told I have to give you what you need right now. And I have 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Because I came early. I started working at 2:00 and I came early to see her and I agreed. And I have tears in my eyes. I'm crying in front of the patient. And I said to her, ask me what you want. She told me. And all of a sudden, I saw a past in a blink. I saw a future in a blink. I took a leap of faith.
Wow.
And since then, I start seeing in a blink.
Wow.
So that's why when the patients come to me, and I just ask them or I look at them and I see everything in that moment. That's an aha moment.
Yeah.
In a blink.
Wow.
And when I think, of course, now I have opportunity to make money, but what I have is so rare. I'm a diamond. And wherever I go, whether with doctors, whoever, I have the knowledge and the diamond and the titles and everything. So I can have everything given to me. I can say to somebody, oh, you're a millionaire? I have a church that I want to put a cover, $100,000. You come, I lay hands on you. I can have any money I want. But
Yeah.
I had to have that faith when they said, one visit. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know. Oh, by the way, I'm writing my memoirs, so I'm going to be, they're being written so you could see all the steps, all the crying and until I'm being told, you paid your dues. Now everything is going to come to you. Everything you seeds you planted are going to, now it's time for the harvest. They're going to come big. You pay the price, but they said many are being called, but very few. Many, they are very, they say, il y a beaucoup d'appelés, mais peu d'élus. They say it's just like a pyramid. They have a bunch of people, they stay in survival. And they're the one you're going to kill the one on the top. So to go to that road least travel, to be yourself, like that $100,000 consult, just be yourself. But we live in a world of materials. we don't even see it. We don't see the money. We don't see the money you have in the bank. Now, with the card, you don't even see the paper money anymore.
Right?
But there is so much about things and so much divisions that we are in a world of plenty.
Yeah.
How much do we really need? So I cried many times because every time I come to that fork at the crossroad, I had to choose the road less traveled. People say I'm crazy, but people always say, I wish I had your guts. I'm admired. So how can you talk finances now?
Yeah, I mean, it's priceless.
Priceless.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
And I'm very happy with who I am. I'm very happy. Oh, but guess what? All the things, all the people I've helped, all the people in the hospitals that I help with the bonus, all the things that I continue doing, I have thousands of people praying for me. So I am rich in prayers. I don't take any medications. I'm in perfect health. I'm 70 years old. I'm in perfect health.
And you look amazing. Let's just say
I
that.
feel amazing. I feel amazing. I dance, yes.
I love that. And it's all, and that's just a key indicator of perspective, right? Because I feel like life is really about perspective and what society tells us is the end goal. Is that really the end goal? Or will that really give you the satisfaction that you think you want, right? So I really appreciate that story. Thank you.
I'm willing to say, let your light shine. I'm a shekushete. I'm an illuminator of the spirit. I have a bright light for those in the darkness. They just come with their little candle and just having a light. Because I get it from the sun.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, Dr. Carroll, it has been such a pleasure as always. I love your energy. Oh my goodness. But before I let you go, do you want to tell the listeners where to find you, your website, when your podcast will be out, or if you have any information on that?
Okay, wellbuilt.com, we're revising it. But also I think I have a newsletter. I don't have a newsletter, but you can sign up for one of my free books. Then I can have your email at drcarolle.com, drcarolle.com. I will send you.
Okay.
Whenever I'm doing something, I will send you an email to say this is what I'm doing. Because everything we do, we want to share it. And then the program, so we're going to have affiliates. So whenever you refer the courses, so we're going to do a lot. My goal is to share what I have.
Okay. I love it. So stay tuned.
Yes.
Again, Dr. Carroll, thank you so much. We appreciate your insight today.
My pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of WinHers United. I hope you found this information useful and can take at least one thing away to implement into your life. Go to winhersunited.com/podcast to read the show notes for this episode and check out Dr. Carroll's full bio. Also, don't forget to follow us on Clubhouse at WinHers United so you can join us in a future room. As always, be empowered and empower on.